Why are you going back and forth? I can't keep up with your mood swings. What is troubling your mind? Are you doing this just to test me? I'm bad at handling this type of thing. I don't get it, you say it's a man thing. Babe, I wanna be around. I just wanna make your heart sing. But you're not letting me get through to you. Yeah. If you let your guard down, baby, this is what I'll do. Come on, baby. Love you, I will love you, I will love you like a queen. I'm willing to take you to a place you've never been. Love you, I will love you, I will love you like a queen. I would love to take you to a place you've never been. What is troubling your mind? Babe, why can't you just tell me? I just wanna be your bride. I wanna give our love away. So you're not letting me, get through to you. Yeah. If you let your guard down, baby, this is what I'll do. Love you, I will love you, I will love you like a queen. I'm willing to take you to a place you've never been. Love you, I will love you.
Good morning, Choppers. Good morning. Welcome back. It's never too late to be what you might have been. Good morning. Welcome back. Lots of stuff to talk about today. Today is Friday, August 12th, 2022. We made it. Another week in the books. The weekend is here. So many things going on I want to share with you. This is where you want to be. If you live in the greater Cincinnati area or you lived in the greater Cincinnati area, this is where you want to be right here, right now. We want to talk about all the things that are most relevant with you this morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Please take a second to share the show. Now, coming up here at the beginning of the show, here in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm expecting to get a Zoom call from the good folks at the Cincinnati Realist Association, the Greater Cincinnati Realist Association. As I've been sharing with you all week long, tomorrow they are having a home ownership fair at the Westwood Town Hall at 3017 Harrison Avenue. The home ownership fair is Saturday. It is tomorrow. It begins at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it ends at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is an opportunity for you, no matter where you are in the process of purchasing a home, no matter where you are in that process. You might be in the beginning of that process. You might be near the end of that process, and you're looking to connect with a realtor to help you find what could be your new dream home or your dream home. No matter where you are in that process, this event has been created and is tailored for you. And we got Derek Dansby and perhaps some other folks coming on to talk about that here at the beginning of the show. So please stay tight and stay connected with us as we get started. Plus a smattering of other topics we must discuss. We'll talk with Derek Dansby and we'll talk with Kristen Baker coming up in just a couple of minutes. They are scheduled to give us a Zoom style call. And as soon as they come into the studio, I'll put them on. But lots of stuff to talk about in the last 24 hours. You had the big press conference where the city officials, or should I say the Hamilton County prosecutor and the mayor and the chief of police, they all took time behind the podium and they explained to us in more detail exactly what happened this past Sunday. That's August the 7th. There was a shooting in downtown Cincinnati on a street called Main Street where 9 people were injured. Police identified 2 shooters. One of them was shot by police. In fact, that's how they found him. So I just want to say I put it on Facebook. I got a source, a very credible source, told me that they had been apprehended, or at least one of them had been apprehended, and there was going to be a press conference, and it was all corroborated in that press conference, which I got a chance to watch. As a matter of fact, you might have missed it, but I actually did a reaction show, a video yesterday afternoon. It was about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. You may have seen it. Perhaps you got the notification. I see we see Kristen Baker. Hey, good morning, Kristen. She's backstage, still waiting for Derek. And as soon as Derek jumps on, Kristen, I'll bring you both on. And good morning to you. And thank you for your time this morning. Looking forward to talking to them. It's a lot. I mean, that's a very serious issue, yo. Very serious. And you know us, we like to be on the cutting edge of what's important here in the city of Cincinnati. But we must talk about not only your thoughts about the fact that in total, if I've read this correctly and calculated correctly, forgive me. I graduated from a Cincinnati public school, so forgive me. But I think it's, by my calculation, 171 years between the two of them. If they are found guilty and they get the max on all the charges, 171 years. So I want to talk about that with you this morning. What's your reaction? How do you feel about it? How's that jive with you? Also, yesterday in the city of Cincinnati, a man tried to breach FBI offices here in the city of Cincinnati. And that had a very tragic ending, which I'll share with you. And now more details is coming out about this individual. And it looks like he might have been someone that he may have had some connection to January 6th, and it looks like he may have been giving a lot of threats to the FBI. It's very, very interesting. That whole thing with January 6th and the FBI and law enforcement is really, really interesting, because you got some folks in this country that, you know, they on the surface, they appear to be all about law and order and the rule of law, except when it comes to January 6th. And now all of a sudden, we can't trust the FBI. Now, all of law enforcement has had its history. And we talking about black folks in particular, we already know. But I think it's very, very interesting and worth another look and a deeper conversation about these huge contradictions in the way people are viewing law enforcement, the FBI, and then local law enforcement. Like, what's the difference here? We'll get into it. Let me throw my number out into the ether and see what happens. And again, we are awaiting Derek Dansby to jump on the Zoom style. And as soon as he does, we'll go straight to him. As a matter of fact, boom, here I am. Let me change it. There we go. I think I like that a lot better. Yes, there it is. I like that better. Hey, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Broadcasting live from, let's say, a secret location somewhere in the greater Cincinnati area. If I tell you where I was broadcasting from, you already know what I'd have to do. So I won't tell you that. But good morning to you. Hopefully you're ready to talk. I'm ready to talk, and there's a lot to talk about. You got me up until at least 10 a.m. this morning, and then I got to make a move. It's a beautiful Friday. The weather is turning. It's my time of year. I love it. I love that change in the weather here in the Midwest and greater Cincinnati area. I love it. And football season's around the corner. I know you're all excited about your Cincinnati Bengals. So it's a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of things going on. Before we still waiting on my guests, so before we do that, let's get to the choppers. Let's get to the choppers, man. Let's get to the people this morning. How are you? We made it. Another week in the sun. We're still here. It's beautiful. Great to be with you. Good morning to you. Let me see here. Yeah, well, okay, I'll wait for that. Good morning to you. To my people on Spreaker and my people on TuneIn, good morning to you. What's up, Sharp? He writes, TGIF Nate and the Choppers, good morning to you. We made it. A beautiful morning as well. Great to see you. And as I said, I went live yesterday at about 3:30. Was it, folks? 3:30, 4 o'clock, I think it was, something like that. And I thought we had an excellent conversation. And get the notification yesterday, let me know. I know some people say they have some difficulties with it, but as we wait, let's get into it. I see Crystal is here. She writes, God is good. Yes, he is. Tabitha writes, did they shoot and kill the FBI guy? Yes. To my knowledge, add to what I have read in the news, that is sadly true. You know, loss of life is never something to celebrate, but that is true. Apparently, he fled the FBI offices, the offices. led police on I guess a bit of a high-speed chase, and then there was a standoff, which resulted in his death. So those are the details that we have so far. Very, very tragic, man. When you got people trying to breach the FBI, and here we are not too far removed from what happened with January 6th. And then it gets reported that the individual may have either been at the January 6th, insurrection site, or was a sympathizer or had some kind of connection with it, man. It makes your mind start to wonder as to what the motivations were. What are your motivations? And apparently he was armed. He had a nail gun, and this is what's being reported, and an AR-15 rifle. So when you hear something like that, you already know authorities are going to take it super seriously, as well they should. So a lot of things happening. Plus, there's a conference in town. I want to tell you all about it. I want to tell you all about it. Cincinnati is doing big things. So I want to share that with you as well this morning. I won't throw the number out because I feel like as soon as I do, then Derek will jump on and then I won't be able to take your phone call. So I'll refrain. I'll hold off on throwing out the number until we talk with our guest. So just give us a little bit more time and we'll get to that. Pamela writes, good morning. Charles writes, all the time. Tanika writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Great to see you. Good to see everybody. Brent writes, so Cincinnati, it has 2 months of summer, 2 months of fall, 2 months spring, and 6 months of winter. I won't say 6 months, but sometimes it feels like that. I don't know. I take it as it comes. I like the hot weather. I like the cold weather, but that change from that spring and fall, that's my time right there. I love it. But what about you? All right. As I've been stalling, I see we got Derek Dansby backstage now. Hey, Derek, can you hear me? I think so. I think there might be some issues. Let's go ahead and bring the folks on this morning. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Choppers. Good morning, Kristen. How's everybody?
Great.
I'm doing well. I think all is well, Derek. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about what's going on. So I've been promoting it all week. Tell us what people can expect at the home ownership fair coming up tomorrow.
So tomorrow we're doing actually our fourth home ownership fair this year at Black real estate professionals who will be on site to provide information, provide all of the prospective new homeowners with the price of home, everything from pre-approval all the way through closing, everything in between. Vendors on site that'll tell you
Derek,
how.
I hate to cut you
Yes.
off, but your connection is in and out. You're in and out. Like I can hear
Okay.
you. It's like the audio and the video are not synced up. So you might want to leave and maybe come back or something like that.
I'll
Okay,
do that.
appreciate it. All right. So now we got started, Kristen, and good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having
thank
me.
you so much. So tell us what your involvement is in terms of the process to buy a home. What is LISC Cincinnati?
Sure. Well, LISC, so we go by LISC to make it a little easier to say. We are a national community development financial institution. So we were created to address the affordable housing crisis that has really challenged our nation for generations. And the way that we do that work is through being really engaged in local communities. So I'm the director for our Cincinnati office, but we have 39 around the country. And so we really follow the lead of what our community asks us to do. And here in Cincinnati, we've been asked really to help address the housing challenges that face so many of our neighbors related to affordability. So not just about affordable housing, right? When you think about, sort of traditional government supported housing, but making sure that everyone has access to housing that is not overburdening their budget and that they can afford, and that it's of a quality and it's in places where folks want to be. So the work that we're doing is really focused on both rental housing and homeownership opportunities, recognizing that historically Black households in our country and in Cincinnati have been shut out intentionally through policies and through banking practices, et cetera. So supporting homeownership opportunities for neighbors who want to get to homeownership is something that's really important to us. And that happens through advocating for policy change at the city. It happens through working with bank partners, creating new tools and products to help households, and really partnering with organizations like the Realtors Association and Derek to make sure that that can happen.
Okay, so let's talk about policy because my audience is very active
Yes.
in terms of voting and then influencing other people to vote, and we're really interested in supporting good policy. What are some of the policies that your organization advocates for?
Sure. So right now we are really focused on helping to shape the way that the city uses its public resources to support housing, both again for rental housing and for home ownership. So thinking about, we've all hopefully heard a little bit about the city putting some resource towards the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which can help homeowners, it can help renters, depending on how the priorities are shaped, right? How can that really resource be used to help get to what we know the community is really asking for, which is again more access, more availability, more opportunity. So we really partner with all of the organizations that you might think of in the community, like Housing Opportunities Made Equal, Home Ownership Center, Urban League, Legal Aid, right? We all work together to say, what are some of the key things that we need to be pushing our elected officials for? And the elected officials are asking for insight. They want to know, right? So have an opportunity here that's important. And so it's important for people to express that to their elected officials directly because they are listening.
Absolutely. Hey, Derek, I think we got you back. Can you hear me, brother?
Is this better?
No, it's not.
No.
No, unfortunately, no, it's not. Are you on a cell? I'm not sure what kind of device she's on, but he's going to try to work that out. I appreciate him. So, will you be at the event tomorrow, or someone from your organization?
We will not, but we absolutely support so the difference between like what Derek and the Realtists are doing and all the organizations that are working directly with homeowners, we sort of work the next level up, right? So I don't provide services directly to consumers, but what we're trying to do is say, hey, city, maybe we need a small dollar mortgage program, right? That can help homeowners with some of the challenges that they're experiencing in terms of accessing or maintaining their home. Or maybe we need to talk to the banks, right, and keep encouraging them to adapt their product to actually be able to be usable in many of the communities and markets that we know have not historically been able to equally access product and services, right? So that's the level that we work. But I think that the conversation around access and resource particularly for Black homeowners or future homeowners to connect to is really important because we know that many times doors are shut in folks' faces. And so bringing all of those services together, the way that these homeownership fairs can do, is a really important way to kind of amp that up, right? And help people connect to other offerings that they might not be aware of because we don't do the best job always of communicating that out.
We don't. And then, the reason why I jumped on it because it's all about education, right? Like there's a lot of folks out there, and I think sometimes we make the assumption that they have all of the education about the process that they need. I think there's a lot of folks who are they're just not aware of either where they are and or where they need to be to get on the road to home ownership. So I'm hoping that events like tomorrow can fill that gap with information and resources, so people know exactly where they are and where they need to be. I see we got Derek back. You back, Derek?
Am I back?
We don't hear. Yeah, man. Yeah, tell you what. Why don't you give us a call? That might work better. You give us a call.
Okay.
All right. 513-873-7134. So we'll try to get Derek on one way or the other.
Awesome.
It looks like it's hit or miss with this kind of stuff sometimes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
understand. So with LISC, you say you have 39 other. Are you in 39 cities or just 39
Yes.
other? Okay.
39 cities. Yep.
So is it kind of a situation? Have you found where perhaps there's a program or a proposal that works in one city and that perhaps it gets absorbed and offered up in other cities?
Yeah, that's really the beauty of what we do is that I can call my colleagues in Indianapolis or Kansas City or even Los Angeles or New York and say, hey, how are you doing this? How does your government play a role? What products and services are you making available to the market to really help support these priorities and create more opportunity? And, the challenge is that every state government is different, right? So a lot of the things that happen at the state of Ohio, then the city of Cincinnati, we're limited by what those rules are. So that's what sometimes a lot of folks don't always understand that, right? Because it took me a long time to sort of, and I work in this space, like to understand that there's certain policies and directions that come from the federal level and from the state level that we can't change at the local level. So that's where it sometimes is difficult. But I think there's a lot of opportunity in other communities. They've really figured out some interesting tools to increase homeownership. We know we have a 20% plus gap in Black-white homeownership in Cincinnati region. It's unacceptable, right? That does not work for us anymore. So how do we see what other communities are doing, bring those things here, or invent our own, right? Like, we're open to what other great ideas that can happen here in Cincinnati and how we can drive those forward.
I think we have Derek on the line now. He's on the phone line. Hey, good morning, Derek.
Is this better?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
Thank you. Sorry so much for the technical problems. I don't know what's going on. I reset my router and everything. I don't know what it is. But
It's all good.
I actually just caught the last little bit about what Kristen said in terms of the gap between white homeownership and Black homeownership. It's actually in Hamilton County, there's actually a 40% difference between white homeownership and Black homeownership. Black homeownership, we last checked, was at 33% in Hamilton County, at 74% in Hamilton County for whites. And if you look specifically at the city of Cincinnati is probably closer to 25. So we've got a huge gap when it comes to Black homeownership rate. And what's unfortunate about that is that the Black homeownership rate is not growing, it's declining. Over the past 2 years in Hamilton County, the Black homeownership rate has gone down 1.7%. So if we keep trending on this line over the next 8 years or so, you're going to see a 25% homeownership rate in Hamilton County for Black homeowners. And that's something that the Cincinnati Realtors want to fight. We're trying to actively do something by doing these homeownership fairs to help educate individuals and families on what it takes to become a homeowner, how easy the process is, and why you should do it, which is why we're doing the homeownership fair this Saturday at the Westwood Hall Town Hall at 11 a.m., which is why we're going to have lenders there who can get you pre-approved, inspectors there who can tell you what to look for when you're buying a house. We'll also have other real estate professionals like myself who are realtors and realtors who can help you with every step along the way.
Okay, great. So tell us what people can expect. What two things, let me back up here. What do I need to bring? Do I need to bring any particular documents with me? What do I need to bring with me if I'm coming to the home ownership fair tomorrow?
The only thing that I ask that you come with is an open mind and a good spirit. And if you're able to do that and come in and listen and learn, all the speakers will be there. They'll be able to tell you everything you need to know in terms of how to buy a house. They'll be able to answer questions. They'll be able to debunk a lot of myths. They'll be able to tell you how much money you probably need to put down to have in your pocket when you're ready to buy a house. And we'll even have loan officers on site that can get you pre-approved, at least give you an initial pre-approval without looking at your documents. It's really just kind of based on some basic information, how much money you make, how much your bills, to give you an idea on exactly how much of a house you can be able to afford. You can come back at a later date with that lender and provide the necessary financial documents to actually get a pre-approval. And then that way you can take that pre-approval letter, you can work with the realtors, and you can go out and find a house.
So when you come, what you can expect is, and we kind of walked through this the other day, you told me, Derek, is that at around 11:30, 11:15-ish, there's going to be a presentation with all the folks there. People will get up, talk about who they are, what they do, talk a little bit. And then after that, it's just up to the individual to just meet the different people at their booths or their tables. And so really after that, it's any time that you show up is a good time to show up, right? Because you can decide who you want to talk to and how you want to work the room. And you guys will be there from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Is that correct?
That's correct. We'll start the program probably about 11:10. We've got the Vice Mayor, Jan Michelle Kearney, will be there to provide some greetings. Some greetings will also come from our sponsors, Union Savings Bank, Garden Savings Bank, as well as GCRA Title. You'll hear from our chairs of our home ownership committee. But then you'll hear from licensed insurance agents like Deetra Walker with State Farm. She'll be there. We'll have inspectors there. that'll be able to tell you the things that you need to look out for when you're purchasing a house, when you're looking for a house as well. We'll also have some opportunities from Lawrence Taylor, who's with the city of Cincinnati. Someone will be there to provide information on the ADDIE grant. It's a grant that the city provides for first-time home buyers, provides you $5,000 towards your purchase of your house, provided you stay in the house for 5 years. So once we go through our program, then at that point, if you can ask questions throughout the program, but then at that point, you have an opportunity. You can have a one-on-one conversation with lenders or with the insurance agent, with Deetra, and with other folks like Lawrence Taylor regarding the grants. And you can also have an in-depth one-on-one conversation with our lenders who will be on site. There'll be folks from Guardian Savings and Union Savings there. They'll be able to give you some tips on mortgages. And then you'll also be able to just ask some real personal conversations of, hey, what is it that I need to do in order to fix this or to fix that? Am I ready to buy a house? And really what we're trying to do is, really get rid of some of the myths that folks have about what it takes to buy a house. And the reality of the situation is right now here in the city of Cincinnati, we have a huge housing shortage. We don't have enough houses for the number of people that are here. And we need to build more houses. And as we talk about escalating rent prices, rents are going to continue to rise. It's unfortunate, but it's facts. So in order to help us as Black folks, we need to make sure that we're living on a regular budget. And by living on a regular budget, the main part of your budget is how much am I paying for housing? And if we can make your housing costs consistent, a flat rate for the next 30 years, you know exactly what you're going to be paying. That will allow you to budget better, to save better. You can then take that house that you purchased, you can pass it on to your kids, your grandkids. You could sell their house. You could take that equity from their house. You could go buy another house. You could use that for starting a business, for sending your kids or yourself to college, or for continuing education. Who knows what you would want to do that? But the truth of the matter is that we need to build equity. And the easiest way to build equity to achieve wealth is through homeownership.
Somebody wants to know, Jeffrey writes, won't they need specific documents for pre-approvals?
They will need specific documents for pre-approvals. But where we're at for the Saturdays program, we're really just trying to make this more of an introductory process for folks. At some point, you will need 2 months worth of your last pay stubs, 2 years of taxes, but that'll come a little bit further down the line. Where we're at right now is we're really just trying to make sure people understand the process and to get into the process.
Tabitha has a question. She wants to know, what is the lowest amount that you have known someone to put down to buy a house?
Zero.
Okay.
Zero. There is no magical number of what you need to purchase a house. You can purchase. I've seen, people don't have to have anything to purchase a house. They just need the pre-approval. They just need to be pre-approved with a mortgage from the bank or a lender.
Okay. So tell me about your partnership with Kristen's organization, with LISC.
So a few years ago, LISC took the leadership and created a Housing Our Futures plan. And I don't want to steal any of her thunder, but the main reason why LISC is so important is that we talk a lot about, hey, we need a plan and strategy for affordable rentals. We need a strategy for workforce housing, and Kristen's plan clearly identified exactly how many units of workforce housing that we need in this city moving forward to maintain the level that we have right now. And when I say workforce housing, I'm talking about people who check you out when you leave the grocery store. I'm talking about people who give you your food at the fast food driving lane. I'm talking about people who help you with everyday things in life. Everyone needs a place to live. That's not going to change. What LISC did was identify the exact number of units that needed to be built from, I believe, and Kristen can correct me if I'm wrong, from 2018 all the way through 2028 in order for us to just maintain the level of workforce housing that we have, not to increase, to maintain.
Okay.
And where we're at right now, it's not happening at the level that it should be. And her plan calls for exactly how much it should be. And really what we need to do is understand this plan and read this plan. And when we talk with our elected officials, we need to challenge them on why aren't we implementing this plan? This plan had the city of Cincinnati involved, the Port Authority, Greater Cincinnati Foundation, our organization, a number of housing organizations that play a key role in this. So the plan is there. It's not like we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to start from scratch. We've got a playbook. It's just a matter of just implementing it.
Okay. Which begs the question, Christian, coming straight to you. Tell us about this plan.
Yeah. Thanks. So, as I was talking about a few minutes ago, we work in other cities around the country. In most other cities, typically the local government would take the lead on creating a strategy for addressing housing challenges in their community. We weren't really in a place in 2018 where that was favorable, right? The city has long been focused, which is important. Do not get me wrong. It is important for us to repopulate the city, right? We need, because the city is funded through payroll tax primarily as our main source of revenue, we need folks to be living and working in the city. That's really important. But we also, if we're not attending to all price points in the housing market, if we're not making sure, like Derek was saying, the folks that are out there who helped keep us going through the pandemic, especially at the worst moments, we are not doing our job as a city and a community of taking care of our folks. Couple that with the huge disparity in home ownership rates and the disinvestment that's happened in so many neighborhoods around our community. We, at all of those partners that Derek mentioned and even more, said, you know what, we've got to come up with some plan. What are we aiming for here? We know that people are struggling to find housing. We know that the housing values are going up and our wages are staying flat. That does not make a recipe for a successful economy and success for our neighbors. So what are we going to do? So we brought together all these partners and, most importantly, really put at the center folks that are and have currently been experiencing housing challenge themselves, because the ideas, the solutions have got to come directly from folks who need and have experience the challenge the most. So we put together teams, we worked for months and months and months, and came up with a set of strategies that really focus on, as Derek was mentioning, producing more housing, preserving existing affordability, protecting vulnerable neighbors, seniors, et cetera, people with disabilities. And then also, what are those system and policy changes that need to happen to enable all of that? Because we cannot chip away at this 10 housing units at a time. There are some significant wholesale changes that have got to happen in government and in the private sector for us to be able to do that. So it's big, it's bold, it's challenging, but it's the work we need to be doing. And frankly, we're happy that the community is talking about this issue outside of folks who are struggling to find housing. We don't need to explain any of this, right? But for people who that has never been a challenge, this is an issue that has got to bring some light to. And so we feel that is starting to happen. And that's why I think you're seeing a lot more action at City Hall and in Hamilton County government around what are the resources that need to bring to bear to actually get to those goals.
Is there somewhere online where we can read the report or the plan?
Yes, absolutely. It's all available on our website. I can share that with you.
Is it lisc.org?
lisc.org/Greater Cincinnati.
Okay, great. Okay.
You'll find it there. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go there right now. /Greater Cincinnati.
Yes. I mean, it's early. maybe there's a dash in there somewhere, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's Greater Cincinnati. Yeah. Okay,
I'll check it out.
Awesome.
I'll check it out, and we can read more of the details, because, for the public, we need to be empowered with good ideas that we can now push our representatives to get behind, right? And if people have put the work into and running the numbers and doing the studies, and it makes sense to us, then we can speak more intelligently. We can speak with more force and focus, when we're interacting with our elected officials, and say, look, I heard about this plan that LISC has. I think it's a great idea. So that's the reason why I ask. Derek, anything else?
Nathan,
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just to continue on that line, Nathan, I wanted to bring Kristen on because she's been in this field for a while, and LISC has been at the forefront doing this type of work for a long, long time. Kristen and her predecessor before her, they are fantastic. A few months ago when we were on, I wanted to make sure I brought housing opportunities made equal, because they had a pathway to increase Black home ownership. We've got all of the partners that we need. We've got the plan. We know what needs to be done. it's just really a matter of just making the investment in increasing the amount of housing that we have in Hamilton County and in the city of Cincinnati, period. I've got home buyers ready to go right now, pre-approved. Been looking for a house for a long time. I can't find them a house because we don't have enough quality workforce home ownership homes that are available. As long as we keep beating the drum and telling people about the Housing Our Future plan and about what Housing Opportunities Make Equal is doing and how the Realtors works with all of these different groups, we can get it done. It's just a matter of us just making it happen.
And again, you'll be at the event tomorrow, Derek, so people can actually meet you and talk with you directly.
Absolutely. I'll be there. You'll be there. We've got all of our realtors. They've been invited to come and participate as well. The partners will be there. We'll be there at 11 o'clock at the Westwood Town Hall. You can register in advance. There's a Facebook invite page that's out there. You can also go to Eventbrite and search Home Ownership Fair Cincinnati. You'll find us there. But more importantly, if you want, you can go to my page. And Nathan, I know you've been sharing the flyer all week long. Kudos to you. And I really just appreciate the opportunity that you're bringing to us to share this information, because there's really not anywhere else for us to get this information and this word out. And your forum allows us the ability to have a microphone to stand up and stand on the soapbox, so to speak, and tell people what they need to know and what we need to know to move forward, to make sure that when we talk about affecting policy, if we want to talk about affecting policy with a plan that the people who we're trying to affect the policy with have already agreed to, there's really nothing to discuss. It's easy it's an easy conversation.
Well, Derek, Kristen, I appreciate your time, and I'll see you tomorrow, Derek. Kristen, nice meeting you,
Yes.
and hope this is not the last time we speak. Let's stay connected.
Call me anytime. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Have a great morning.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Kristen.
Yep. Thank you.
Take
That's
care.
Kristen Baker. She's the director of LISC Cincinnati. And then Derek Dansby, he's the president of the Greater Cincinnati Realtors Association. And both of those organizations have digital footprints, meaning they have Facebook pages, social media accounts, and also websites. And you can check it out and do your own research if you want to go a little deeper. But I will be there for the first hour. And I'll be doing what I call social media shout outs from the event. Just want to make sure that people know what's going on. You know, not everybody gets the news on a daily basis. Some folks may not hear it until tomorrow morning, and that's great. But I want to do my part to raise awareness, because I 1 billion% agree that for working class folks, having home ownership as a part of your wealth building strategy is paramount. It's very, very, very important. Very important. And there's so many studies that suggest that kids that grow up in a home that their parents actually own do better in school. They socialize a little bit differently. You just feel differently when you live in a home that your people actually own. It's a different feeling. It's a different feeling. And we want to bring that feeling to everybody who wants it. All right. Good morning to you. If you want to share your thoughts, I'll throw the number up now. You ready for it? 513-873-7134. Two men face a total of 171 years for the shooting on Main Street. I watched the press conference just yesterday. Primarily was ran by Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Dieters. Mayor of Cincinnati, Aftab Pureval, spoke a little bit. And so did the interim Cincinnati Police Chief, Chief Thietke, I believe it is, Thietke. Hopefully I got that correctly. And they all spoke about it. And this is something that everybody's very serious about. A lot of people could have been killed. People are afraid of gun violence. However, I do have a lot of questions. Again, if you do the crime, you do the time. I get it. But 171 years seems to be a lot. And if I felt as if throwing a book at, giving people so much time that they never get out on the streets again, I'm sure there's some individuals that deserve that. I'm sure there's some folks out there who are absolutely menaces to society. Is that these individuals, these two gentlemen? I don't know. I don't know enough about them. As a part of press conference yesterday, they showed just some numbers on their kind of arrest and charges. And both of the two individuals, I think by most, average Joe account have long records and involvement with police. But does that mean that because of this incident, they should never see the light of day again? I don't know. And then secondly, the question was brought up about whether self-defense could be used in this scenario, in this case. And the Hamilton County prosecutor, Joe Dieters, just basically laughed it off. He's like, I don't buy that. And it made me dig a little deeper. And I'm like, well, regardless of my record, and both of these individuals had prior felonies and they were not allowed to. It was illegal for them to be carrying guns, concealing guns. That's the law in Ohio. So that's that. I think they were charged with that. Both of the men were charged with that as well. However, you got some folks out here that got that mentality that we've all heard about. Better to be judged by 12 or perhaps judged by 1, but judged by 12 than to be carried by 6. There's people out there that know they're not supposed to carry weapons because they've got prior felonies, but they're doing it anyway because that's the lifestyle that they live in. I think we should dig a little deeper into that. But then secondly is, put yourself in that situation. You get into an altercation with somebody on Main Street. And again, we don't know all of the story. Hamilton County prosecutor Joe Dieters, he implied that there was more to the story than what they could actually talk about. So perhaps there's been some long running beef or whatever between these two individuals or the two groups of individuals. I'm not sure if you saw the video, but it was wild down there. I mean, people was shooting across the street and all kind of stuff. Matter of fact, I made, this is what I showed yesterday. This is a still shot from the video that was taken. It looks like it's either it was a street cam or it was connected to a business right there down on Main Street. But I think if you live in Cincinnati, many people know that corner. Hell, I've been down on that corner and hung out in my adulthood. So it's not too uncommon for people to do that. And in the video, you can see that a fight breaks out and a man is sort of waving around what appears to be a flashlight, but it was a flashlight attached to the gun. As he's backing up, he's firing shots. And then he turns that corner where that yellow arrow sign is. He turns the corner and runs to the right. Then there's a man who was on the opposite side of that image who opens fire. And it's like somebody really could have got shot. I'm really happy that nobody was shot and killed. 9 people were injured, but I don't know. I mean, it does open up a question about what is self-defense. No matter what your record is, if I get into a physical altercation with someone and he decides that he wants to pull out a weapon, I'm now in a self-defense mode. You're now using lethal force. We got into a fight. You know what I'm saying? I mollywopped your ass. Okay, great. But then now you're using lethal force. You've now turned it up a bit. So if I have a weapon on me, am I supposed to let you shoot me? Or I know there's a crowd here, but I'm not trying to let you shoot me. I'm trying to return fire. I'm trying to kill you, hit you, stop you before you hit me, kill me, or stop me. So I thought it was interesting that Joe Dieters kind of laughed it off as if, there's not self-defense. You can try that, but I don't buy it. Well, then what do you call it then? What do you call it? If you get into an altercation with somebody and then they decide to use lethal force, what do you call that? What is that? A fight? I don't know, but we'll find out. So I know everybody in Cincinnati was very, very in their feelings about this, and then we've got to do something about it because it's the Main Street business district, and we can't have that kind of violence down here, right? To me, a part of this conversation I'm picking up on is that we are really comfortable with these kind of violent incidences happening in certain neighborhoods. If they happen in certain neighborhoods, sure, we're outraged. Sure, we don't like it, but we are not as upset as we get when it happens in the business district. Oh, no, we can't have that. And I'm wondering if that played into the overall sentencing as well. But Joe Dieters has his mentality, and he was on display yesterday where he feels like the number one way to deal with this is to lock people up for the rest of their lives. And I want to know if you agree with that. Let me go first. I don't agree with that. I think it should be case by case. And I think in general, what we've seen is that the whole lock them up and throw away the key and truth in sentencing and 3 strikes and you're out. You get life because your third offense was something small, but you had 2 prior offenses. So now 3 strikes and you're out. You're locked up for the rest of your natural life. All that does is destroy families, increase the taxpayer burden, and have a deleterious impact on our society. It don't stop crime. They could have gave these two men 1,771 years, and it's not going to stop the next time somebody's in the same situation. I don't care where it is. I watched the press conference, and Joe Dieter seemed to be really in his feelings because, well, how could you do this in front of a police officer? There's police standing right there, and you're getting into an altercation and firing shots at one another. And I'm like, don't nobody care about the police standing right there? So what? When you get into it with another human being, you ain't worried about if the police are close or not. No, but that's ridiculous. Nobody's thinking about that. If you got into an altercation with somebody and they pulled a gun on you and you got a weapon, you're not going to be thinking about the police are on the corner. You're thinking about, I don't want to get hit with this lead. I'm trying to get home. You're not thinking about that. So when he threw that out there, I was like, man, I get it. Like, what are they supposed to do? Officer, he's shooting at me. Can you make him stop? Who does that? What world do you think we live in? Y'all better get hit. We live in the real world, the new America, as I've been saying for many years. In the new America, this ain't your granddaddy's America. This ain't your grandmama's America. It's a whole new world out there. In the new America is every man for himself. Every man and or woman for himself. Can't you tell? In the new America, you have to take care of you because the police going to show up afterward, as they did in this situation. They're right there, but they can't stop that. The police, I don't put that much pressure and onus on the police and responsibility on the police. They can't stop somebody from getting into an altercation and then getting in their feelings and deciding they want to start firing shots at somebody. They don't have no control over that. They ain't got no control whatsoever. Yeah, we're back now. Sorry about that. A little hiccup in the stream. Uh, but what I would love to see with this situation is that we actually try something long term and some new strategies. Because the whole we're gonna put more money in police budgets. Okay, great. And we're gonna put more surveillance cameras. Okay, great. And Joe Dieters is gonna try to give them 171 years in total. Like literally one man in total, if he gets the max on all convictions, can get 90 years. The other man can get 71. Is that 171? I hope it is. If my numbers are off, then please let me know. All right, I'm not a mathematician. I went to Cincinnati Public Schools, so blame Cincinnati Public Schools if my math is off. But you, like I said, you can give them 1,071 years. It's not going to change the culture. It's not going to change the block. Yeah, people for a short time would be like, man, I ain't trying to do nothing downtown for a short time. But you know how our attention spans are so short these days. You know what I'm saying? The new America, land of short attention spans, short tempers, and short skirts. That's where we are right now. And it is what it is. But, Joe Dieters gets up there and he makes the people feel safe again because I'm going to go for life. I'm going to keep them off the street. So, okay, that's what we're going to do. All right. Seems like that's what we always do. And it never seems to have a lasting effect. We get outraged until the next shooting, right? Get outraged and then we fall back into our slumber. Oh, the Bengals are here. Oh my God, Joe Burrow. And then we're jolted out of our slumber because something else happens. We get outraged and then we slowly fall back into our slumber. And then we get jolted out of our slumber. It's like a vicious cycle. It's a very sick cycle that we seem to be caught up in when it comes to violence. But it is what it is. I want to get your thoughts. If you want to share your thoughts, only one rule or maxim: open your mind before you open your mouth. That's it. The wise words of Buchos. But what do you think? What do you think? Again, 513-873-7134. Lemmy writes, they have been shooting in downtown, just not reporting. Right. I live in Clifton. I hear shots all the time. I don't know what people are doing, but I hear it all the time. Tiffany's on YouTube. She writes, these guys potentially facing life for a shooting that did not result in death because of the location. Meanwhile, a shooting in Avondale, Westwood, etc., the shooting gets 20 years for murder. Yeah, people are making that point. Like, if it was in a different neighborhood, Joe Dieters wouldn't be so outraged. the community wouldn't be as outraged. And I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong about your observation. I think we should press city leadership about that. Yeah, I mean, how could this happen on Main Street? Well, we haven't done the investments. We haven't really invested in people. We haven't really invested in families. We haven't really invested long-term, serious, consistent investment in the various areas that we need to, that would, I think, have a greater impact on stopping this type of mentality, right, than it does. So we have to invest in a lot of times behind bars. My audio is fluttering. Give me 1 second here. I'm not sure why that is. Hold on 1 second. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll try something on my end. But it might be out of my hands. I'm not sure. Hold on 1 second here. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Update what we're doing in terms of the video. Hopefully that's better. On my end, it seems like the connection is a little bit better on my end. So hopefully that's good. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. 171 years in total for the two men involved with the Cincinnati shooting. And you just knew that they were going to try to throw the book at these individuals because everybody was in their families. I mean, it was in their feelings. How could this happen? And rightly so. Like, the conversation might be different if they murder somebody. So city leadership is approaching it from a what if standpoint, which, can you blame them? Like, let me play the other side of this. Like, if Joe Dieters is looking at this like a what if kind of situation, like what if they did shoot somebody and kill someone, the outrage, the anger, the feelings would be even higher. So maybe that's the way he's approaching it. And I don't think anybody's going to challenge that. It's better. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. Kamiki writes, y'all do realize multiple innocent bystanders were shot, right? Yes, we do. This was a mass shooting event. I don't know about 90 years, but y'all want to slap on the wrist because no one died. That's just felonious assault times 9. Well, I think, Kamikia, I get your point. Sustained. But I think there's a big difference between a slap on the wrist and 90 years. At the end of the day, you do the crime, you do the time, and sometimes you commit a crime that just, becomes a focal point for that community, and you end up paying a far greater price than if it had happened at a different location or a different place. I don't have no sympathy for these individuals. However, I'm still trying to figure out how I really want to look at this. When I looked at the video, and I know, again, I don't think like everybody else in the city of Cincinnati. I'm not them. They ain't this. This is something different. I think differently. When I look at that tape, I'm thinking, okay, the man who initially pulled the gun is more wrong to me than the man that he pulled the gun on. That's the way I look at it. And I don't care if he had a felony or not. So what? The man that pulled the gun initially is more wrong than the person who pulled the gun secondly. And put yourself in that situation. You got a felony, but you're carrying a weapon because you feel like your life might be, you might have to fight for your life. Okay, you're willing to deal with the charge. Okay, great. You're not supposed to have a weapon, but you do. That's the reality of it. You're carrying a weapon. You know you're not supposed to. You know if you get caught, you're going to jail. You're going to get charged. You're going to catch a case. No doubt about it. It's automatic. We got that. You're down on Main Street. You get into an altercation with somebody. Maybe he's familiar to you. Maybe he's not familiar to you. You start mollywopping his ass. He backs up and pulls a weapon out and starts firing at you. You have a weapon. What do you do? What do you do? What would you do? You know what I'm saying? I already told you, I'm taking him to hell with me. We both going that day. I'm not going to let you shoot me and kill me because I got a damn felony. I don't care about that felony and my life's on the line. That's how people think. I'm going to let you shoot me because I'm not supposed to have a gun, but I got a gun. There is nobody in this audience that's going to do that. I talked to Fame yesterday. He was lying through his damn teeth. I don't believe a word he said. I don't like to touch guns, Nathan, but you've got a weapon, man. I'm setting up the hypothetical. You're going to let somebody shoot you and kill you. No, you're not. You're going to return fire. And you ain't going to be necessarily thinking about the crowd per se. Depends. Like, if you felt like they run away, great. If you ain't sure if they ran away and they sent across the corner and they shot at you, you're going to fire back at them. I would say the vast majority of everybody in this city would do the exact same thing if you were the second gunman. I'm just giving you a different way of looking at it. Now, I know that the mainstream Cincinnati way of looking at this is that they was wrong. I'm not saying either of these men are right. I'm not giving you sympathy. I'm just giving you a different way of looking at it. They was wrong. They both were equally wrong. How could they do this? The police are right there. People could have got shot, all that kind of stuff. But if a man pull a gun out on you and start blicking at you, what you gonna do? And you got a weapon. And why is that not self-defense? It's not self-defense because you're not supposed to have a weapon. I just need better understanding on the law, I guess. Because in common sense world, if you pull a gun on me first, and you take a physical altercation and you ratchet it up to now we using lethal force, then I'm able to use lethal force to defend myself. You started it. We could have just kept it at a fist fight. You know what I'm saying? It could have just been a fist fight. So I know what we supposed to say and how we supposed to look at it, but I'll let other people do all that. You know what I'm saying? You know, we look at things. I look at things a little bit differently. And then tell me why shouldn't the second shooter be allowed to claim self-defense? I don't know. Maybe the circumstances or something like that. Again, more details will surely come out soon. But I thought it was quite interesting. He just laughed that off, like, "Nah, I don't buy that." You don't buy it? That's what we just saw. If that was Joe Dieters, what would Joe Dieters do? You think Joe Dieters is gonna let somebody shoot him? Or is he going to return fire? I mean, we live in a conceal and carry state. So doesn't that imply that situations like this are going to happen and that you can defend yourself? We live in a conceal and carry state. You are able to legally conceal a weapon because you might be in a situation where your life is on the line. I don't care where you are. You can be at the middle of a crowd. You can be on the square. You can be at the mall. It don't matter. It don't matter. When somebody get to blinking at you, the law tells us that you are allowed to defend yourself. You can blink back. I don't get it. What am I missing here? I think what I'm missing, I think the big issue is that they are not supposed to have a weapon. But what I'm telling you, there's plenty of people that's not supposed to have a weapon, and they carrying weapons every day because their life might be on the line. And it looks like in this situation, at least the second shooter was justified in carrying a weapon on some levels because somebody shot at him. So, I think when you have a criminal record and you're black and you're dealing with a gun, there's so much stigmatization with it, right? That we don't even think no other way other than what the media tells us to think or what the prosecutor says. Man, bump all of that. I mean, ultimately, he's a decision maker. He's a Hamilton County prosecutor. I mean, some of y'all voted for him. Not me. Some of y'all voted for him. I voted for Fanon. I'll say it again. I voted for Fanon Rucker. I still think he would have been a 1,000 times more better, 1,000,000,000 times more better as a Hamilton County prosecutor than Joe Dieters could ever be. And I think he would have been every bit as tough on crime. He just would have bring a different energy to that position, which is going to happen one day. And when it does, people will be like, "Oh, this is so much better. I never knew a Hamilton County prosecutor could bring this kind of energy." We thought it had to be all, Law and Order, Joe TNT, lock him up, throw away the key, drug forward your money, going to these outside the neighborhoods. They took the money, all that kind of stuff. Don't get me started on Joe Dieters. But I get it. So maybe if the individuals involved didn't have felonies, we would look at it differently because they could legally have a gun. But I'm just saying the concept of self-defense, of course, is legal. But I mean, outside of the legal concept, in the world of public opinion and just interacting as a human being, you got the right to defend yourself. My question is for you, every member of the audience right now. What would you do? You're down on Main Street, same situation, people everywhere. You get into a fight with somebody, you're molly-whopping his ass. He backs up, pulls a weapon on you. Blick, 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 blick. He's shooting at you. You got a weapon on you. What do you do? What do you do? I'd like to know. But while I wait for those responses, let me go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. It's Friday. I ain't got no job. Oh, that's right. I'm retired. What up, Nate?
What up with you, man? Good morning to you.
Hey,
Drop.
man. Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me on the show, Nate. I saw your little your brief afternoon broadcast yesterday, and you were talking about this subject. And this is a national issue, Nate. And this is my opinion. Okay. You know as well as I do that crime has been a national issue across the country. And the media on both sides, they focus on the blue states or the blue cities. But in this case, Cincinnati is a blue city. Am I correct? Nate?
I guess, yeah.
Because okay, but it's in a red. It's in a red. Okay. I just want to make sure it's in a red state with a Republican prosecutor, Joe Dieters. And shout out to Black Russia because he brought this point up to you earlier in the year, Nate, about the crime and the bail reform, the progressive DAs, like the one that got recalled out here in California.
Dear Lord, please don't tell me you're trying to politicize this. Please don't tell me you're trying to make this a Democrat-Republican thing. Please don't tell me you're trying to do that because that would be disrespectful to all the people that got injured for you to try to play politics.
Can I finish my opinion?
I didn't stop you, bro.
Okay. I don't want to talk over you, Nate, because if we both talk,
you can't talk over me. I can always pot you down. I'm just interjecting that.
Okay. All right. Okay. I appreciate the interjection, but it is a national issue, Nate. You can't avoid politics. This is a highly, highly volatile political season right now. Okay. So the pressure is on the prosecutors, especially in a red state with a Republican prosecutor. And I think that's why people are focusing on the 171 years. And yes, everything you said is correct about someone who has a weapon and they use it for self-defense. But if he kills someone in self-defense, okay, it won't be murder, okay? But he will catch a charge for being in possession of an illegal weapon, especially in a red state. So again, Nate, crime is on the ballot. This is a huge national issue with crime, law and order, prosecutors letting criminals back out on the street. So again, I don't know if these people involved are criminals.
Didn't we already had this conversation and we found out that your assumptions was completely erroneous? Like this assumption that prosecutors are letting criminals back out on the street is ignorant.
That's true.
Is number one, ignorant of how the legal system actually works because the Constitution says that you can get bail. So,
but Nate,
to say they let them out on the street is disingenuous.
Get recalled
but it's disingenuous, sir. I thought we covered this already, and now you back at another bite from this apple. I thought we covered this.
I'm offering my opinion on the topic at hand. You asked for a response from your audience. I am part of your audience.
Yes,
I'm giving you my response. Now, we all know what happens after I hang up. There's always a response to my response. But all I'm telling you, Nate, is I agree with you about how someone's going to respond in self-defense.
So you would have responded in self-defense.
Whatever.
So if you were in that situation, what would you have done?
Of course I would have. If I'm carrying a gun for self-defense, Nate, and I'm going to use it. Do you remember the case, Nate? Do you remember the case of the guy who worked in the bodega? Do you remember the case of the young lady who was at the auto parts store, who got dragged and beat down
in Ohio?
And she got up, went behind the counter, and shot the girl.
Right.
Okay, do you remember? Do you remember the man? I think he's still at large. I'm not sure, but I think this happened back in April in front at a Walmart in broad daylight. Peeled the guy's cap back in broad daylight. Okay, all these things, Nate, are exactly what I mean when I say crime is on the ballot, and these prosecutors and these district attorneys are under a lot of pressure. So you can say it's not political, but Nate, everything is political now, sir. You can't run from it. It's everywhere.
I just question whether you were going to try to make it political in your phone call. It sounds like that's where you were headed, and I'm glad you took a turn away from that, because it's disrespectful to try to play Democrats and Republicans, and we talking about people's lives. And I think it's so much more to that. Like in Ohio and Cincinnati and Hamilton County, it's very complicated. You talking about whether Cincinnati is a blue state, a blue city, yeah, and the county's kind of going blue, but the Hamilton County prosecutor is a Republican. He's been there for 15, 16, 17 years. And then at the state level, the state of Ohio is run by Republicans, and really a city council, the city elected officials, the mayor, they're handcuffed. There's only so much power they have to change gun laws, right? Or to really change any laws without the overview of the state superseding them. So it's a lot more complicated than I hear people trying to make it out to be. It's a lot more complicated.
Right.
And again, I resist this opinion that you've had. I thought we dealt with this already, homie. Of the fact that
but Nate,
judges were letting
fair.
Killers out. Listen, you can
Nate,
get bail in America. That's all part of the process. Sometimes you get bail.
Nate, okay.
It is what it is.
Okay, so I know it is what it is, sir. This is again, like I always say, it's your show. You asked for my opinion. I'm giving it.
And I'm happy
you don't
to
like
get your
it,
opinion. I appreciate you calling and giving your opinion today. Very much
which is normal, but you overlooked the part where I agree with you. Okay,
I'm not looking for you to agree or agree. I'm just responding. We're just having a conversation. Why you getting so damn? It's Friday, man. Why you getting so damn sensitive? Did I do something to offend you?
You asked your audience of their opinion, Nate. How am I different? Why can't I call?
I never said you were different, sir. It sounds like you're being sensitive on a Friday. Did I do something to offend you?
No, because again, Nate, I know, Nate, I know you are fair, but when it comes to me, you're biased.
I'm not biased against you, brother. Where you get that from? I'm not.
Because see, Nate,
are you just looking for attention or something? I'm not biased against you. I love your calls. I love your viewpoint.
Nate, I trigger you. Because your listeners can tell that you respond to me different than other callers. Okay, that's so
one,
obvious,
if you
Nate.
pay attention,
and for you to sit up here and deny that, come on, that's that intellectual dishonesty and intellectual laziness that you practice sometimes.
So now you're taking shots, intellectually lazy. Okay, great.
You played the role very well, sir.
Can I admit a few things? I'll admit to you a few things. Number one, I'm more critical. I'm harder on men than I am on women in general in life, and I think it translates on the show. That's number one. And then number two, I love your phone calls. Absolutely love it. I love what you bring to the show. However, as I will with my own biological brother, sometimes your brother needs to be corrected. And that's all. I hate to hear my brother sounding crazy. So if I hear you saying some stuff that's straight from the Looney Tunes or Cartoon Network, I feel like it's my responsibility to shed some light, to bring some common sense to it. That's all, brother. Nothing more than that. Don't get all sensitive.
Okay, I appreciate that little soliloquy.
It's not a soliloquy because I'm talking to you. A soliloquy is in theater when the person on the stage is talking directly to the audience. I'm talking to you. It's not a soliloquy. See how I gotta do this, little bro? Darn it.
Okay,
but listen,
all right.
I'll give you the last word.
Nate,
Go right ahead.
Yes, I'm gonna leave on a positive note. Latest Fox News poll. Our president, number 46, POTUS 46, Joseph R. Biden, has finally broke the 40% mark. He is currently at a 42% approval rating in the Fox News poll, but there's other numbers in the poll that I won't mention because you may perceive them to be me taking shots
Can I
as
ask
the
a tiny
president.
question?
But I just wanted to close with that, Nate.
Can I ask a little tiny question? Like, why do these poll numbers mean so much to you?
Because it's a snapshot in time. Okay? Now, like I said, his poll numbers were so bad, all he could do was go up. Okay? So let's see.
You don't seem to
Let's
be
see
happy.
how long. But Nate, he's my president too.
Yeah, but you don't
okay?
seem to be happy. Like when his numbers were sub 40, I heard a glee and excitement in your voice. You don't seem to be happy that
Right.
your president's poll numbers are going up. You don't seem to be as happy now.
Well, see, again, Nate, he had nothing to do with it, okay? All the shit that's been done over the last 2 weeks, his ass was in quarantine, Nate, okay? So, again, Joe Biden, like you always
He
say,
had
the
nothing to do
president
with
is
it. Okay, so
the
you're not
president
happy.
is going to get the blame. The president is going to get the credit for shit that he don't have nothing to do with. We all know that. But I'm just saying, Nate, I wanted to close on a positive note, and you still wouldn't let me do that.
What do you
Okay.
think about all of the news about Trump and the fact that the FBI raided his house, and now you have a lot of people in conservative media, which I know you listen to, who are defending Trump and saying that the FBI is wrong to go after him? What do you think about all that?
Mm-hmm. It's deja vu all over again, Nate. This takes me back to 2016, 2017 with the Mueller report, which was a hoax, with the Russian collusion.
The Mueller report was not a hoax, sir.
With all the FBI planning shit in the campaign. This is where we are again,
The FBI
Nate.
never planned anything. The FBI just investigated the relationship between
Nate,
Trump's campaign members
Nate,
and Russian operatives, sir. That's what happened. But
bro,
you know what?
How you gonna ask me my? Oh my God, I love you though, Nate. You're my number one, man. I'm gonna miss your ass. I don't care, bro. Like I said, Nate. Like I said, he's my president. Okay.
You don't seem to be happy that his poll numbers are going up. You seem to be very disappointed.
No, half of his success legislatively has been bipartisan, Nate. Okay. All right. So
he's been far more successful. Biden has been way more successful in terms of legislation than Trump was in 4 years.
Nate,
he's only 2 years into it.
Joe Manchin. All I got to do is say two names: Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema.
Right. If not for them, Biden would have been even more legislatively successful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. So Biden had nothing to do with the success that the party, the Democrat Party, is currently feeling right now.
That's not how it works, sir.
He's the president, and his poll numbers have gone up 2 percentage points. And let's see if he can sustain it while he's on vacation with his crackhead son.
You just can't wait for those numbers to go back down again, can you? You'll be so happy. I hope they don't go. I hope they go back down again just so you can be happy.
Nate,
but brother, I gotta make a move.
The anniversary, Nate, the anniversary of the end of the Afghanistan war is coming up in a couple of weeks. So let's see how his administration deals with that, because that was not anything positive, and that was the beginning of the decline of his ratings with the American people. So I'm looking forward to it, Nate, because I love calling your show and keeping you updated on the opinion of a black man that's not a Democrat. So thank you for taking my call, because you have just experienced South Squad 52 dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it. Be safe in them streets, choppers. Peace
Same
out.
to you. That's my big bro right there. Drop Squad 52. He is so not happy right now. He just can't wait for Joe Biden's poll numbers to go back down. It's amazing how he wants to talk about poll. He's all in the politics, right? But he don't want to talk about this stuff that's happening with Trump. Speaking of which, an FBI, well, the news is saying that an armed gunman tried to break into the Bureau building here in the city of Cincinnati. This was taking place yesterday afternoon, morning and afternoon. And the Ohio State Highway Patrol officers reportedly exchanged fire with him after he tried to break into the FBI building. Northbound Interstate 71 was shut down after the suspect drove away from the scene and reportedly started firing at police. I think it's been confirmed in the media that this suspect, this man, has now passed. He was killed by police. and stuff is starting to come out about who he was. And what now, number one, why would you take an AR-15 and a nail gun to the FBI offices if you're not going to do something? I'm all about open carry. I'm all about open carry, but when you take it to the FBI offices in these days and times, it's going to touch people a little bit differently. And that's what he did. All kinds of stuff was coming out about this guy, that he may have been connected with January 6th on some levels. I don't know if it's true or not, but he may have been, I've heard or read, shall I say, that he may have been a Trumpster. You know what I'm saying? One of these true believers that is so upset about the FBI right now because they keep investigating Donald Trump. Well, that's what the FBI does. You know, it's funny, man, but when the FBI goes after the Black Mafia family, or they go after a rapper, or they cracking down on, you know, brothers in the hood or something like that, it's all good. It's all good. But as soon as they go after Trump, all of a sudden the FBI is corrupt. I saw an article the other day, and the headline, I didn't read the article, but the headline read something like, now people are starting to figure out what Black people already knew, that the FBI was corrupt. And I didn't like that headline because one thing doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the other. I mean, think about PG Sittenfield. Like when the FBI was going after PG Sittenfield and going after Tamir Denard and going after Jeff Pastor, they're cleaning up corruption. They're fighting a good fight. Soon they go after Trump, they corrupt. Yeah, okay. Uh-huh. The suspect was identified as Ricky Schiffer, 42 years old. While he may have been at the site of the January 6th insurrection, he was not charged in connection with what went down. Federal investigators are examining whether Schiffer may have ties to the far-right extremist group, including the Proud Boys. Look, the number one threat to our communities right now are these good old boys, these white supremacists. That's the number one threat. That's the number one terrorist threat, domestic terrorist threat in America right now. Don't forget that. A Schiffer attempted to breach the visitor screening area at the FBI office at around 9:30 a.m. in the morning. When agents confronted him, he fled. And apparently there was a high-speed chase on 71. He was shot after there was a big standoff for many, many hours, and he was shot after he raised a gun toward police at around 3:45 p.m. I think it should be a full investigation into the use of force. We need to know whether it was justified or not. The fatal encounter happened after police negotiations failed, and police tried unsuccessfully to use less lethal tactics. What are those tactics? We don't know. We don't know. Was anybody traveling on 71 or trying to travel on 71 during that time and you got blocked? I'd like to know what you saw, what you heard. If you don't mind sharing with us this morning, I'd love to know it. So I don't want to make any assumptions. We don't really know yet, but, we don't know what the motivations were. I do know that as soon as Trump started talking about the FBI, you had a lot of people in conservative media, Trump sympathizers all over the place, who started to voice their opinions about the FBI as well. It's just so funny how, man, like this relationship between law enforcement and the Republican Party is the most interesting thing ever, because they come across as if they're all about the rule of law and order and we pro-police, right? We cannot put enough money into police budgets. Some of them never saw a police situation that involved lethal force that they didn't support the police in. But as soon as the FBI goes after Donald Trump with what appears to be credible reasons, all of a sudden we can't trust the FBI. It's just amazing to me. It's absolutely amazing to me. Like in individual states and cities, the Republican Party, their lips are permanently affixed to the ass bones of the FOPs in these respective cities and states. There's nothing that they can do wrong in some cases until it comes to the Capitol Police, and they ain't said a word on the national level in support at all. When you had Capitol Police officers whose lives were put in danger, they ain't got nothing to say about it. Nothing. There's no word whatsoever. No word of support, no word of condemnation for the forces that led to the situation that put those Capitol Police officers in harm's way. They ain't got nothing to say about it. Now, as Black people, we already know about COINTELPRO, and as I've been sharing with you for many years, COINTELPRO never ended. It's still going on. COINTELPRO never ended. The surveillance of Black leaders, and it wasn't just Black social or political leaders. These mofos was running around here following Jim Brown, following Lou Alcindor, the man who became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, following entertainers because of the Messiah, effect. Like they're afraid that somebody might galvanize the people and they might rise up and ask for, I don't know, food and shelter and access to the American dream, basic stuff like that. And then as you get into the 90s and 2000s, COINTELPRO shifted and he started surveilling anti-war protesters. Go pick up a book. I speak the facts. COINTELPRO is alive today. And they still surveilling folks to this day. It never ended. Don't let them tell you it's ended. It never ended. It just kind of shifted its focus. It went underground. You know it and I know it. Charles writes, I'm thinking Schiffer had a nail gun because he didn't intend on getting shot. He probably thought he'd get apprehended, then taken to his favorite fast food joint before heading to jail. He's got jokes. Somebody's got a sense of humor. I like that. Somebody's got a sense of humor. Listen, I want to take a quick pause for the calls. We'll come right back. Don't go anywhere. It's the Nathan Ivey Show. I'm live. I'm local. I'm vocal. Again, today's show is brought to you in part by our friends over at Renew Community Church. They offer a Sunday morning live stream. A Sunday morning live stream. You can tap in on Sunday mornings at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's a live stream. You can find it on Facebook and on YouTube. You can tap in. This Sunday's topic, did you know negative emotions equal sickness and relationship breakups? Question mark. Take back your life from negative vibrations and have happier relationships. Let me add this. Remove negative people from your area. Their energy will only drain you. All right, we'll come right back. Don't go anywhere.
I've been feeling emotional, thinking about you, babe. What can we focus on? What we should do? Tell me the truth, 'cause I don't wanna see you with somebody else. And I've been feeling lonely in this king-size bed. I'm trying not to worry about the things you say. I ain't got the time, you're always on my mind. Baby, why you playing with my love? I'm trying to be patient with you now. I'll never be sober if you don't pull me closer. Look me in my eyes and tell me how. I'm hypnotized. I'm hypnotized. I've been feeling delusional. Thinking about us, babe. Your body's so beautiful. All I want is your love. Can't get enough. 'Cause I don't wanna see you with somebody else. And I've been feeling lonely in this king-size bed. I'm trying not to worry about the things you say. I ain't got the time, you're always on my mind. Baby, why you playing with my love? I'm trying to be patient with you now. I'll never be sober if you don't pull me closer. Look me in my eyes and tell me how. I'm hypnotized. I'm hypnotized. I'm hypnotized. Why are you going back and forth? I can't keep up with your mood swings. What is troubling your mind? Are you doing this just to test me? I'm bad at handling this type of thing. Why I don't get it, you say it's a man thing. Babe, I wanna be around. I just wanna make your heart sing. But you're not letting me, get through to you. Yeah. If you let your guard down, baby, this is what I'll do. Come on, baby. Love you, I will love you, I will love you like a queen. I'm willing to take you to a place you've never been. Love you, I will love you, I will love you like a queen. I would love to take you to a place you've never been.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is the last honest place in Cincinnati media, if not the world. Craig, good morning to you. Remember, the same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. It's what you're made of, not the circumstances. Good morning to you. I want you to have a great Friday and a great weekend. So many things going on we got to discuss. But let me get back to what we were talking about right before we got off the air. Again, 513-873-7134. A few things on my radar screen. So again, tomorrow, I want to share this with you. I know many people are homeowners in this audience. I know some of you a little bit better than others. I know many of you are homeowners because you talked about it before. But for those who are thinking about becoming homeowners, the Greater Cincinnati Realtors Association is offering a home ownership fair tomorrow. It's from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. You could tap in over at the Westwood Town Hall at 3017 Harrison Avenue. And I'd love to meet you. I'll be there doing social media callbacks or shout outs for about the first hour. And love to see you there. So I just want to talk with some of the people who are there because not everybody can make it. And I already understand that. So I want to make sure that you've got a connection, at least on Facebook and on social media, to get some insights as to what's going on. You know, it may not work out for you to attend tomorrow. All right. But it's still good information nonetheless. We talked with DeRee Dansby earlier. I appreciate him and his guest, Christian. She's with LISC. First time I ever heard of LISC, but I'll be checking them out now. Apparently, they got a roadmap that would help the housing situation here in the city of Cincinnati, which I think is very, 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 very grateful. LISC, LISC.org, and in Greater Cincinnati, I think is what she said is the web address if you want to check it out. The roadmap. We've been talking about the fact that the shooters in the Main Street mass shooting, it happened back on Sunday, August the 7th, have been apprehended. In total, the two of these men could get a total of 171 years. How do you feel about it? Is self-defense, could that be used as a defense at all? I don't know. Then also, we've been talking about the fact that a man tried to breach the security checkpoint at an FBI office here. He fled from the scene when he was confronted by FBI agents. It led to a high-speed chase and then a standoff for many hours. And the end result was that he was shot dead. From what I read earlier, police tried to use non-lethal measures. They tried to have a negotiator, but it didn't work. Was anybody traveling on 71? If so, what did you hear? What did you see? Or if you have a general opinion, I'd love to hear it as well. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Nate. What's going on, brother?
I'm doing well. Doing well, Daryl. Welcome.
Man, I don't think, well, you said that there were reports. I didn't hear that last part where you said he had ties to the was it the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys?
He had ties to perhaps the Proud Boys and some other of these far right extreme groups. That's what was reported. That's what the FBI is investigating right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, the bottom line is I think he went out on his own, but there are a lot of people sharing his sentiments. I'll put it that way. And so, we just have to be careful. I mean, I keep saying you got to you just have a presence about yourself and keep your head on a swivel, and that's just the way we have to live now. I mean, you see somebody moving funny, got a duffel bag or something, then I mean, honestly, now I'm thinking, what's going on with them, but we living in some different times. I just wanted to say that when we look at this whole thing, and it's funny that Drop missed the whole piece, and he didn't even touch on it about his guy. I'll just say his guy having nuclear documents in his possession. And then, Jared Kushner got $2 billion. I mean, what's the ties there in nuclear documents? What kind of nuclear documents? Was it nuclear intelligence on someone else? Was it on our own, weaponry? I mean, the right wing, you know what? Merrick Garland set them up perfectly because he let it go a day. He said what he had to say in a press conference yesterday, but he set them up because they were like, what was the right wing saying, Nate? What's in the warrant? What's in the warrant? Didn't you hear that?
Yeah.
Across the board? Okay. And what did Merrick Garland do at the press conference? It was like, it's up to Trump, but I'll unseal it and let it out to the public. What did you hear after that? Dead silence. So he set them up. He played chess with those fools.
Yeah.
And then he called
Trump's bluff.
Nate. Yes. Yes. It was excellent, and everybody's getting on Merrick Garland, and I'm like, this guy, he's not moving like a prosecutor. He's moving like a federal judge. He knows what it takes to judge the case, not prosecute the case. He knows what it takes to prosecute the case, but he's looking at the end game, like how do you make a judicial decision in the role of a judge? That's how he's looking at this. That's why everything is tight-lipped. Everything is methodical. The I's are dotted. The T's are crossed. And I don't want people to lose sight of that. That I know there's some doubters there like, man, I don't know. That was a chess move. Now he got the whole Republican Party leadership. Well, didn't you say release it? So what happens if Trump don't release it? He talks to his attorney. He gave him till 3:00 today. If he don't release it so it could be unsealed, and he's like, nah, we ain't going to do it. How'd that make them look?
Mm-hmm. Well, they got something to hide.
Right. They jammed. They are jammed. And the Republicans, talking about law. He up there talking about crime, and that's going to be the biggest issue on the ballot. These mofos don't respect crime. They talking about going after the FBI.
And you know what that is. Drop wants, and all the Republican wants it to be about crime because somehow it's the Democrats' fault. It's they can't keep you safe. So it's not really about safety and bringing peace to our communities. It's all about trying to have a political tool to use against Democrats. And I'm like, man, I'm about solutions for the people. I don't care about who's in office. Whoever's offering
Right.
the best solutions, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, makes no difference to me. But Drop and people like him are so caught up with anything that can make Biden look bad, anything that can make the Democrats look bad. It just gets old because who cares about that? What I care about is policy that impacts people in a positive way. That's what we should be focusing on. And I don't care what
And that
party it comes from. Makes no difference to me.
right, right, and that's what it should be about. But we know the Republican Party is all about power. They don't care about what you just said. They just want power to rule. They want to rule people. They don't want to govern. They want to rule. There's a difference between governing and ruling. They want to rule over people. And that's what that party's about. One last thing, Nate, and I know you touched on this. This is way off. I mean, it's kind of diverting a little bit, but you talked about you brought up the Deshaun Watson thing, right?
Yeah. Yesterday. Yeah.
And yeah, so I was talking to my uncle yesterday. Man, look. So the NFL, listen to this. The NFL didn't like what the how I want to. She was an independent investigator. They don't like what her determination was of a just punishment for Deshaun Watson, right? 6 games. They didn't. The NFL don't like that, right?
Right.
So then the NFL hired her as an independent arbiter of issues of this nature. And they can't. And the problem, where she got stuck is, and she said it pretty much, is because the precedent was 6 games, and any kind of similar related situations or even domestic violence situations. And I'm bringing this up because I'm not condoning what Deshaun Watson did at all. What I'm saying is the NFL is, we all know they full of it, but they showing it. This organization wants to operate with impunity. They want to operate out. So what organization can hire, I'm an organization, a company, whatever. I'm going to hire, this is who we're going to suggest. We're going to hire this arbiter between 2 parties, us and another party. And we're going to agree with whatever they decide we agree with, right? Now, they don't like the decision, and they're going to overrule the person they hired.
Right.
So, man, if I'm Demore Smith of the Players Union, and this is where I'm going with, this is why I brought it up. The bigger issue, the larger issue, not to make the issue with the gross sexual imposition with Deshaun Watson any less, but the bigger issue overriding that I don't know if anybody's talked about, is this is all about that antitrust exemption. Because if the player union, if Demore Smith is good at his job, he would be running the NFL up in court as soon as they tried to try to suspend him for a year. Because you cannot have that kind of control. And this goes into the Brian Flores thing, the sexual allegations with the Washington Commanders. This ties all into this stuff and Discovery. The NFL is out of control, bro. And they need to be checked. And I hope they bit off more than they can chew and then this opens up a bigger case so they can challenge that antitrust exemption. So I brought that up, man, because that's a story. I don't know if it'll get that far because they have deep pockets, but I just think that and I'm really what the bigger point I'm bringing up and the tie to Trump is the impunity with which rich folk operate with, that they're above the law. This ties into Trump. This ties into the NFL, that they don't live by the laws that we all have to live by, and they think because they have money, they're above it all. That's all I got, brother. Have a nice weekend.
You too, man. That's Daryl. Appreciate you. That's all I need. That's all I need. Appreciate it. Let me get back to this. I'm reading from an article in the AP. You need to read this. This is quite interesting. I think I'm going to share my screen so you can check this out. This is interesting. Like, we are living in the last days of common sense, no doubt about it. There it is right there. And I think I'm going to try to get a closer view of it so you can actually read it along with me. Let's see if you can. Does that look better? I think that look, but yeah, now you can actually read it, and they got some advertised, some promos there on the side, but just pay no mind to it. But I want you to read along with me on this. There have been growing threats in recent days against FBI agents and offices across the country after federal agents executed a search warrant at Mar-a-Lago. On Gab, a social media site popular with white supremacists and anti-Semites, users have warned they are preparing for an armed revolution. So I'll say it again. These white supremacists, these anti-Semites, they are the real threats to our peace and tranquility. That's the real threat right there. It ain't rap music. It ain't the brothers in the hood. It's these white supremacists. Many of them were either at the site, helped to plan, or were sympathetic with the insurrection attempt. Like I keep reminding people, some of these white supremacists, some of these good old boys that loved Trump, some of these folks that were pro-insurrection on January 6th, they plotted to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, white female Democrat, governor of Michigan. They plotted to kidnap this woman and to execute this woman. All right? There was also a plot that was foiled to kidnap the governor of Ohio. Who else out here is doing this kind of stuff? So I'm not afraid to walk through Avondale. I ain't afraid to walk on Main Street despite what may have happened. This is what scares me. These backwater bubbas, man. They upset because America left them behind, and LeBron James worth $1 billion, and all these athletes got Jesus pieces worth $100,000 around their neck, and this ain't the world that they was promised. And they are very invested in Trump. Trump the Rump has a lot of people who appear to be ready to commit violence. What we saw on January 6th will happen again in some form. In some form, some fashion, it will happen again, my friends. No doubt about that. In some form or fashion, I believe that it will happen again. Because that energy is not going away. It's not going away. That's some bold ass shit. That's bold in a motherfucker. I don't even know what Gab is. First time I'm hearing about it. I don't need to be on Gab other than just maybe to be a fly on the wall to figure out what's going on. Next paragraph. Federal officials have also been tracking an array of other concerning chatter on Gab and other platforms threatening violence against federal agents. This is what FBI Director Christopher Wray denounced. As I understand it, Christopher Wray is a Republican. Quote, violence against law enforcement is not the answer, no matter who you're upset with. Could you imagine if this was black folks? Could you imagine? what the response would be. And then you have a man who tries to breach security at the FBI office in Cincinnati with weapons on him. So it's very quick to arrive at assumptions and jump to conclusions. Again, I'm waiting for more information, but are we going to find out that this dude was one of these like white supremacist sympathizers or leaning toward their issues? Are we going to find out that he was upset because the FBI righteously and with evidence? I mean, people act like the FBI, like the people act like Joe Biden is like calling and telling the FBI what to do. If he did, he would be impeached for that, or at least people will be calling for it. That's not how it works. They have to actually get a federal judge to sign off on the warrant. It got signed off by the director, by the U.S. Attorney General. It appears by all accounts that they followed all of the laws. And when you're dealing with a former president, who out here thinks they would do anything other than to make sure they dot all the I's and cross all the T's? Of course they did. And then to Daryl's point, yesterday, you had the FBI, U.S. Attorney General, Merrick Garland, who, by the way, was he could have been a Supreme Court justice. He was nominated by Barack Obama, but Mitch McConnell, and his Republican supporters, they wouldn't even allow the man to go up for a vote. Why? Because they were hoping that Donald Trump would win, and then they could put Republicans in that place, and it worked like a charm. Props to Mitch McConnell. I guess it worked for him. I don't think it works so good for people, but we'll see how it all works out. So that's the same guy, Merrick Garland. And all these people talking about and complaining about the work of the FBI are the same people on Fox News that sit around supporting police when there's a police shooting and it looks crazy and it's an unarmed black man or unarmed citizen that gets killed. They sit on these shows and they rubber stamp the actions of police. Now, all of a sudden, because Trump's in office, or it's about Trump when he was in office, we can't trust the FBI. We need to see the warrant. Everybody got questions. I wish they had that same energy when an unarmed black man got shot. The next time an unarmed black man gets shot by police and it looks suspect, I want these people in conservative media to keep that same energy, that same level of suspicion and questions they have about what the FBI is doing. Keep that same energy, but they won't. You know it and I won't know it. They won't. They will not. The man had body armor on. So he was ready for what? He was ready for war, I guess. So I agree with what I'm reading. If the FBI says that they go to these social media sites and people are talking about a revolution, they probably are. They probably are. They're plotting to take over because of the Democrats and the liberals and the gays and the transgenders and all the things they don't like. But at the crux of it, you got a lot of people that didn't live their best life. And so now they probably down on their luck and they mad because America isn't giving to them what, when they read the history books, white men got 100 years ago or 200 years ago. So now they upset. That's all it is. You ain't happy about your life. You know who to blame? You. Go do something better. Do something different. But the blame game is fun to play in America. And that's exactly what these guys is playing, man. I'm telling you, watch out. Take care of yourself. Legally strap up. You know me, legally strap up. You never know. And I appreciate what Merrick Garland is doing. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the strength that he's showing, because one of my biggest critiques of Barack Obama is that when he came into the White House, and I mean, if you remember anything about that last year of his presidency, there was a lot of information that could have been put out there that the FBI and other intelligence organizations were gathering about Donald Trump. And I'll never forget this. You know, Barack Obama could have instructed his people to put it out there, but he chose not to because he was afraid of the backlash. That's his own words. He was afraid that people would perceive it like, oh, they're trying to meddle in the election. Man, people are going to have all kind of perceptions. That's what we learned. Do the right thing. If the right thing is to investigate the former president and you got evidence, then do the right thing. And people will fall in line where people fall in line. If people misunderstand or mischaracterize what's happening right now as they're going after Trump because of his politics, then oh well, let them think what they're gonna think. If Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice and the FBI feel as if it is the right thing to do, then do the right thing. And that's what Barack Obama should have did. He should have released that information. Y'all remember this? There was information that there was people who was in Trump's campaign that was meeting with Russian operatives. They had all this information, but they never put it out there because they didn't want to make it seem like they were trying to use the power of the office of the president to go against, a Republican candidate. But that didn't stop the then FBI director from making a really damaging statement about Hillary Clinton. Remember that? Didn't stop him. That's why I say, good people, do the right thing. Don't worry about how people going to react to it. If it's the right thing, it's the right thing. Because sometimes you do the wrong thing and people say it's the right thing. People always got something to say about what people do. They always going to be critics. You're always going to have that. You don't play to that crowd. You do the right thing. You follow your moral compass. You follow the law. You follow the evidence. If the evidence suggests that Trump did something wrong, then you follow it. Even though you know you might get a negative reaction from Trump supporters, and so what? Do the right thing. So if they're doing the right thing, I'm with it 100%. But what do you think? What do you think? Good morning to you. Let's jump in here. Cincinnati Roller writes, Joe Dieters didn't talk tough when that corrections officers assaulted that inmate at the Justice Center. Cincinnati Roller, correctamundo, he sure didn't. He sure didn't. I don't know if Joe Dieters is self-aware or he may not even care. But you're right. When he talked a whole lot tougher when it was text messages. Yeah, he talked a whole lot tougher about the breach of trust when it came to city council members and the things that they did than he did when you saw a Hamilton County Sheriff deputy kick a man in the face with his boots on who was already being detained. Like he wasn't happy about it, but he didn't go super hard like he does. He's a predator. He got to stop this. He didn't go on and on and on about it and express his outrage because he ain't outraged. He probably was like, man, you making us. What his outrage probably was that you're making the good law enforcement officers look bad, right? That's probably why he was outraged. I saw the video. He kicked that man straight in the mouth with boots on, who was already detained on his chest. You should not be a Hamilton County Sheriff deputies at the Justice Center if you're doing stuff like that. TNT writes, Trump gave a statement on Twitter basically saying release it, so it don't look like he will be appealing to keep it sealed. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. TNT writes, right. Now, how can the NFL go back and overrule what was already been settled? Can they do the same for the black coaches suing them? That's because Roger Goodell has been given ultimate power via the National Players Association's contract with the NFL. The players actually negotiated and gave him that power. He has all power. He can do whatever he wants to do. He can say, yabba dabba do, I'm gonna do, and he can do whatever he wants to do. That's essentially what it comes down to. So the NFL is, there's a lot of women that watch the NFL. I don't know the numbers, but there's a lot of women that watch the NFL. And they don't want to turn off that market. Right? They don't want to turn off that market. They don't want to turn off that part of the audience. And so they want to come across as if, they're doing the right thing. But, like you said, TNT, if the arbitrator says 6 games and you negotiated to talk with an arbitrator, it is what it is. Leave it right there. But they want to further punish one of their workers, Deshaun Watson. And maybe he deserves to be punished in that way. I don't know. I wasn't there. I think that what he did was out of bounds. It was ew. It's like, come on, man. You Deshaun Watson. This is how you get women? You're a big-time multimillionaire superstar starting quarterback. This is how you get women? Come on, man. Dude like you should have more women in your Instagrams that you can actually spend time with. But everybody gets off in different ways. This is how he was getting off. You know, he was getting off on that. Like, yeah, give me a massage. No, touch me here. Right. And all this kind of stuff. People get off in different ways. Some people like that kind of stuff. That's probably what he was into. And like I told you yesterday when I talked about this, just knowing human beings and being a man, the reason why Deshaun Watson was doing all of that is because he probably got it. He probably got a couple happy endings out of it. He probably did the same thing with some women. It was like, I'm down. What you want me to do, Deshaun? Oh, got you. Happy ending. I won't make any gestures, any crude sexual gestures. I don't need to. We all adults. You can fill in the blanks. You know what went down. And so that's how men work. Like if we try a line on a woman and it works, we're going to try that same line on other women. If we try a tactic on women and it works, then we're going to try that same tactic on other women. So that's what it tells me. The reason why he kept trying that shit is because it worked a few times. He probably got off on it a few times. Like, oh, okay, got me a new friend. Come over to the crib and give me a personal massage, right? And they probably did it and started sexual relationships, or he had sexual interactions. It's some women that's there for that. I don't think it's negative at all. It's some women, man, like, oh shit, this what you working with? Dude, okay, cool. Just what I needed, right? Come on, ladies, you know I'm telling the truth. And so he got it in his head that he can keep trying this stuff with all women, because that's how men think. We think, oh, snap, this line worked on her and she was prettier than this new one, so she probably gonna go for this too. That's how some men think. I ultimately blame him. Good morning to you. Black not Democrat writes, I told y'all Brian Flores discrimination lawsuit versus the NFL would never see a courtroom. Drop in science. Drop is so smart. Damn, what would we do without you? Thank you, bro. Ray appointed by Trump too. I didn't want to say that. I couldn't remember, but was he? Was Christopher Wray appointed by Trump? I know he's a Republican and people question him. They've been questioning Christopher Wray ever since all this stuff came about, Russia and all this stuff that came out. I mean, Trump, the reason why we keep talking about Trump and all of his dirty deeds because Trump is a crime boss. The Trump crime family. This ain't nothing new. Trump didn't start doing this kind of stuff when he became president. He's been doing this kind of stuff. There's a long line of people that Trump owes money to that he fleeced. There's a long line of people that Trump has paid off over the years because of racial discrimination lawsuits or class action lawsuits. Remember Trump University? He conned those people, had to pay them all off. He's a crime boss. He's always been a crime boss. Some folks decided he was better than Hillary Clinton and made him president. And so what we got was 4 years of what happens of when you put a crime boss and make him president. That's it. That's it. That's all. And the people love him. They love them some Trump. They love them some Trump. Well, good morning to you. Where's Barack Obama? Somewhere chilling. He ain't got to deal with none of this stuff. None of it. Sean writes, some people like Drop continues to care for a party that hates his kind. Right. I don't get it, but Dale writes, I agree, Nate. President Obama should have released that information to the public. Always do the right thing against public perception. Just do the right thing. And it'll figure out itself. You know what I'm saying? Barack Obama didn't do that. That's one of my biggest critiques of his office is he got this information that, you know, people in Trump's campaign was being friendly with Russian operatives. And we know why, because they was looking for information on Hillary Clinton. So here you are working with a foreign party to impact our elections. The FBI was supposed to look into that. Barack Obama's, he had all this information, but he sat on it because he didn't want people to think a certain way. That was my biggest issue with Barack. He cared too much about what people thought. Just do the right thing. Say the right thing. And everything else will work itself out because the people that hate you gonna hate you no matter what you do. And the people with common sense that can read between the lines and can read literally and can comprehend for themselves, they'll be able to figure out what's going on. Don't worry about nothing else. See. Yes, he was appointed by Trump. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to catch up. Curtis writes, Joe Dieter sounds like he's on medication. He did look a little bit under the weather. I don't know if it's up in age. I know he has some kind of issue. He recently had surgery, so he might be recovering from that. I hope he has a speedy recovery. But he didn't look. He looked a little sickly. I saw that too. Yeah, Sean writes, Obama should have put it out. Dems can't play nice with the reps. Reps don't play fair. Absolutely. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Just do the right thing. That's it. Nat writes, the arbitrator judge was a woman. You talking about in the Deshaun Watson case? Yes, she was. Former federal judge Stevens, I think it was. If I'm wrong about that, correct me. If I'm wrong about that, correct me. Let's take another call. Good morning and welcome. Good morning. All right, call me back. Call me back. And I'll try to put you on. Black Russia's in the house. He writes, never forget the liberal who shot up the congressional softball game. There's crazy on both sides of the political spectrum. You're right about that. I do remember that. You said the liberal? Okay. I don't remember all of that. But I do remember he shot, what was it, Rep Scalise, I thought, at the softball game. Yep, you're absolutely right about that. Sean writes, what color were the physical therapists? I don't know. What I do know is that I saw on Real Sports with Brian Gumble, if some of you have, I don't know what that's called. I don't know if it's Paramount or wherever you can look at Showtime Plus or something like that, where they warehouse these kind of things. You can check it out when you want to. Go check it out. And she was, I don't know what her ethnicity was. I don't know. I want to say Asian maybe or something. I don't know. And that's the only image of one of the victims that I saw in the Deshaun Watson case. So I don't know the race of the other individuals. But again, we all men. You know damn well what he was doing. Come on now. Fellas, back me up. The reason why he was doing what he was doing is he was trying to get a happy ending. And the reason why he kept doing it and was so prolific with it is because it worked. Ladies, if you go to the club and a man tries a line on you, that's because that line has worked on a woman before. It's worked before. All that cat calls and stuff, it's actually worked for those men before where the lady stopped and came back and they ended up hooking up. So what do men do? We simple creatures. We're going to rush back in where we were before. Like, okay, that shit worked. Let me try that. So Deshaun Watson there's probably some women out there that messed around with him sexually, consensually. You know, he took the towel off. They saw his erection and what he was working with. Right place, right time, because we all know how women are. Right place, right time. You know what I'm saying? We catch you on the wrong day. Ew. We catch you on the right day. Yeah. We know how that works. We already know. We just hope to be there on the right day. Tell me I'm wrong. You cannot. I'm right. I speak the facts. And it worked. And so then he got in his head, I'm going to keep trying this because that was fun. And that's what happened. That's what happened. Good morning to you. I still hold him accountable because you a starting quarterback. You're a quarterback. You gotta operate differently, man. You can't act like you just no regular Joe out here. You can't do it. Black Russia with the both sides arguments sounds like Trump saying there were good people on both sides in Charlottesville, right? HBO, right. She appeared AAPI or Latina, right. So right. Crystal writes, I'm too smart for those games men play. They look silly playing with me. It ain't even really a game per se. It's just knowing women. Women are just as sexual as men. But some of y'all be in y'all feelings sometime, and y'all don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? And we know. And we just be close. Be an option. And when she in the mood, she'll let you know. And Negroes come running. They come running quick. Be a stampede to get over to the hotel room or wherever, the house or wherever they're trying to get to. I got to make a move, folks. It's 10 a.m. Something dope is going on today. It's called Midwest Con. And Rob Richardson is doing something new. I think it's super, super dope. And I don't know if tickets are available, but I think it's going to be a 2-day conference here in the city of Cincinnati. So check them out. And I think it's super dope. And I hope to catch up with Rob real soon to do an interview about what he's doing now so we can support. And with that, my friends, I'll leave you with our motto. Let's say it together. Winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning. And we'll talk real soon. Until next time, I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.